I got a comment recently from Winston saying that I seem like I'm a glasses half empty kind of guy. First of all, no, I'm totally an optimist. So, glass half empty, if you're not from the UK or English speaking countries, that's a parable? No, phrase that we use for, you either say it's either half empty or it's half full if you're talking about a cup with only halfway filled of water. And if you're a pessimist, somebody that always looks on the downside, it's half empty. If you're an optimist, then you always think it's half full. I'm actually very much a half full person, but what I want people to understand is that when talking about £1,000 cameras, which are meant to be top of the range and filled with features which are going to make your life better or your photography better, I am very much on the opinion of having high standards. Not optimistic standards, not pessimistic standards, but having high standards, and which, when there is a flaw, I will point that out and make that noticeable to everyone. So at the moment, I think cameras, full stop, are fantastic. They're absolutely amazing. The fact that you can get a Nikon D3500, which is a 24 million pixel camera that can do 5 frames a second, that can do everything you want. It's got Wi-Fi built in and all that kind of stuff, for under £300 with a lens, is astonishing. But at the same time, you can get amazing 8 megapixel images from your iPhone nowadays. You can do panoramic sweeps with your iPhone. You can do 4K internal recording video with stuff like your iPhone. With my GoPro, I can shoot 2.7K 30 frames a second. No, the new GoPro, you can actually shoot that at 4K 30 frames a second with Wi-Fi, streaming it back to your mobile phone. Everything is astonishing. But that's what makes it even more irritating whenever the latest and greatest and best tech that is currently out there comes out with pointless stuff, or is flawed in some way, or is faffing around, or has features which are of no importance or no use, or so buried down within the menus that unless you do a full university degree on that individual camera, you're going to be wandering around lost going, where is this feature? Why is this function not working? How do I do that? And again, coming from a person whose kind of main photography has all been digital, and seeing the massive decline in digital SLRs, or the digital SLR industry, and fearing that unless there's some other forms of innovation and prosumer support in terms of backup and listening to requests from the prosumer, I fear that an industry which I was or am heavily invested in is neglecting its customers, making a little profit and potentially ruining it for itself and for photographers in the future. I very much come with the standard, or with the idea that if I'm spending £1,500 on a new camera, hey, it's got a couple more megapixels, hey, it's got another frame a second, hey, it's got more dynamic range, I'm expecting it to be flawless. I am insisting that there aren't 500 menu settings which I will forget about and overlook, or be so befuddled by the button layout that when I'm trying to efficiently shoot something, I end up faffing around looking for settings, looking for buttons, and missing the crucial and important shot which I'm trying to get in the first place. And I think everyone that's watching this, or everyone who is in the photography industry, should be having high and demanding standards coming from the big hitters, especially Nikon and Canon, especially when the smaller companies like Sony and Panasonic are coming out with fantastic innovations and really pushing the boundaries of what they're able to do with their technology. I really feel like Nikon and Sony are just sitting back and going, hey, we've got loads of lenses, you probably already invested with us, hey, we're going to give you 1080p 30 frames a second. You're like, that's I could do that with a GoPro from 4 years ago. And at the same time I could go, oh, for half the price I can get a Panasonic GH4 which does 4K 30 frames a second, or full 1080p at 96 frames a second. And there shouldn't also be individual within camera quirks, or even manufacturing faults where all of a sudden there's oil and dust spots splattering all over sensors, or intermittent Wi-Fi connection from camera to phone. With the amount of technology and the amount of resources these companies have, being able to pick up a brand new multi-thousand-pound digital SLR, you should be able to just pick it up and go and be able to be blown away by its features and its ease of use. Not going, brilliant, I've got this camera. I need a week sitting down, reading the manual, going through all the menus, going through all the settings, figuring out exactly how it works, and then accidentally, when you're shooting, you end up shooting in JPEG rather than RAW. Or finding out that the RAW that you've been shooting is 14-bit uncompressed and that none of your software actually edits that yet, so you can only use the JPEG files. That's handy. So again, don't confuse pessimism with requiring or requesting high standards and pointing out flaws where there are flaws, or weird quirks where there are weird quirks. Everyone knows all the cameras are great. It's the faults and the flaws which everyone should be really told about. Cheers. Bye-bye.